Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this DELL XPS 159500. Alright, so first thing we're going to be doing is using a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver and removing all the screws from the bottom. I like to work on it where the opening is actually facing towards me, but DELL likes to put this logo and stuff upside down. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and remove all the screws here. Alright, if this video helps you out, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their device as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, if you can't do it that way, it'd be very helpful if you can watch a few of my other videos. That will tell the algorithm to share my channel, and that way the views will just continue growing in the future. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the rest of these screws out. Alright. Okay, now that we got all the screws out, we're going to just remove this bottom cover. So usually the best way to do that is you kind of get it open. Let me actually make sure it turns off. I kind of don't like these models that turn themselves on. Okay. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and go in this little gap here, and usually we got to push on the palm side, but in some cases we might have to push on the bottom side. So let's see if we can see which side this one will be. I think this one we're gonna have to push on the bottom. So let's see, can we get our fingernails in this gap here? We can towards the light, so we'll get in there, push on the bottom just like this, work your way around. Okay, you can see now there's a gap here. I'm gonna close this up, work our way around the side here, continue going, just kind of pulling here. You can use plastic pry tools if you want, but I usually find my fingernails work a lot better. Okay, so we got that. We're going to go around to this side, same thing, work our way up around the side and push on the back with our thumb and pull up with our fingernails just like this. Okay, there we go. Hopefully we got all the sides all the way up here, and there we go. And then you can kind of lift and wiggle, and there we go. Comes off pretty easily. So the customer said for some reason sometimes it doesn't turn on right, and also when they hold it from the bottom like this, then their keyboard has some issues. So a lot of kind of weird things going on with this one. Let's go ahead and see. We're gonna go ahead and first remove the battery here. Okay, it is a bit dusty, so we are gonna have to clean that up. Battery model is 69KF2 if you're wondering. Alright, we're going to switch over to a JAS1 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom holding the battery in place. So, wait, is that JAS1? Actually, it might be a JAS0 that we need. Okay, we're switching actually to a JAS0 screwdriver. Okay, let's go ahead and remove these screws. Okay, we've got that one, this one, this one. Okay, we got 4 going along the top. These say M2 by 4, so it's a 2mm by 4mm screwdriver, or screw. Sorry. Okay. So get those 4 out. Oh, this little tab is kind of in the way. Get that out of the way. Alright, then we got 4 screws down here as well, I believe, right? So we'll get those out as well. Let me see, is this JS1? Okay, the bottom screws are actually JS1, so you want to make sure to use the right screwdriver because you don't want to accidentally strip the screws. Okay. Alright, so JS0's up here, JS1's down here. Okay. 2, 3, and 4. I'm not sure why they have this thermal pad material down here, but they have that. Okay. Give me a second. Let's see what my customer's messaging. Okay, give me a second. I have a customer wanting to pick up something. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Let's go ahead and continue removing this. They do have all this adhesive here holding the speaker connectors onto the battery. So I might, let's see, I might want to just lift the speakers out with the battery so I don't have to take that out. So let's go ahead and undo this screw here for that speaker, and undo this screw here for that speaker. Okay, and let's see, it might be easier to just lift all this cabling out from here. So we're going to unroute the cabling from these little grooves. Okay, just like this, work your way over. Again, you can use plastic pry tools or whatever works for you. I just use my fingernails. All right. Okay, so we got this. We're gonna lift this side up. You can see the speaker just comes out like that. All right, and then again, they put that there, so it's kind of annoying. I don't know why they had to use a tape there. Okay, the speaker connects right here, so let me actually zoom in and see if I can show you this. We're gonna have to peel that up. I'm gonna use one of these little plastic tools to kind of peel it up. Okay, just get under there and peel this stuff up, just like that. Okay, there we go. And then we got this connector here, which might be a little difficult to remove. If you can, it's best to kind of pinch as close as you can to the connector and kind of just wiggle it. If it doesn't come out, you might have to use some needle nose pliers, but as you can see, it came out, no problem. And also, if you go to replace speakers, make sure these metal pins that are exposed are face up. You don't want the side with the colorful wires like that face up. Okay, so make sure you don't plug it in upside down. Okay, we're gonna zoom back out here, and we do need to disconnect the battery. This kind of connector is probably going to be a pain to remove, but since we got the speakers out already, oops, that's too much. Since we got the speakers out already, we should be able to lift the battery up slightly here. Okay, we're gonna lift it up from the bottom, lift the speaker out as well. Okay, you can actually put the speakers on top just like this. There's some stuff in there, try and get that out. Okay, then we can kind of swing it over a little bit this way, and then what I do is I get my finger underneath to grab the connector. Okay, so if you can, this one actually maybe it won't work that way because there's too much stuff in the way, but usually I'll get my finger underneath to grab the connector, but yeah, I guess I can't reach there. So I guess we'll use this little tab they have here, and you kind of just wiggle side to side as you kind of pull. Okay, so just like the speaker cable. Okay, and that wiggling should help you get it out. If it doesn't, then I don't know, we're gonna have some trouble here. So let me see, we're gonna kind of tilt it up more, I guess, and then we'll pinch the whole thing and kind of just wiggle and wiggle and wiggle and pull and wiggle and pull. Yeah, this one's being really tough. Oh, it's actually going out from one side, so we gotta pull more on the other. Come on. This connector is really tough to remove. Okay, so it's all coming out on the right side, so we need to pull more to the left, and there we go. Okay, I was expecting it more to be a gradual like wiggle like this, but it was more like this side came out and then this side went out like that. Okay, so we'll set the battery aside now. And let's see. Oh no, okay. So keyboard cable and everything is all right here. We might have to take the entire thing apart to get to it. I'm gonna flip this latch up here. Just check this cable and adjust it a little, and then latch that back down. We got this cable here. We're gonna flick this one up. Okay, make sure this cable's good, and then latch that down. Got this cable here. We're gonna kind of flip that up, wiggle it a little, and then click that in. You can actually see how much this keyboard, or not the keyboard, the motherboard wobbles. So I'm a little bit worried there because the touchpad and keyboard I think all plug into this. So I feel like what is going on is actually this cable might be bad, because you can see the way it flexes, it affects this cable. I guess one way I can kind of verify or confirm that is if I plug the thing in, turn it on, and then see if I kind of like move this cable area. But yeah, alright, there's two M.2 PCIe NVMe slots here. Alright, they're held in with these screws, and then this copper, this copper plate slides back this way. This copper plate is just attached to the SSD, it looks like, and they even wrap some Kapton tape. You got 2 sticks of RAM here, so just like every other computer, pull the 2 tabs to the side like that, pops up, comes out like that. This is an 8 gig PC4 3200 AA stick of RAM. Alright, you should be fine with any PC4 3200 AA stick of RAM, so if you want, you can get two 16 gig sticks. If they somehow eventually make 32 gig sticks in the future, you can possibly use those as well, okay? Usually the slots aren't really limited. Sometimes there are some limitations, but it's pretty rare, okay? We're going to clean that out as well. Alright, I'm going to have to clean all the dust out of here. I'm going to show the customer what it looks like inside so they can kind of have a look. And then we'll see. I'm going to let them know what I got to do and see if they want me to continue. Alright, so give me a second. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. I cleaned up the fans as you can see and all the rest all around here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to try disconnecting this little cable and the two SSDs because that would be the easiest route. Otherwise, we'd have to pull the entire motherboard out. I don't see how the SSD would be affected, but basically when some pressure is put on the bottom from the bottom cover, it messes up the keyboard. And right now the only part I see that really moves around is this piece, and then I guess the SSD might be getting direct pressure. So let's go ahead and actually pull this out. The thing I'm worried about is the SSD one might be motherboard like issue where it's cracked or something. So once we get that screw out, you can see we can pull this up slightly, and then we're gonna just wiggle and pull this out. So this is, looks like it might be a Samsung. They put this thing on top so I can't really see. I don't know what this, I don't want to peel this copper heatsink off, so we're gonna have to leave it there sadly. Okay, try and just dust it a tiny bit. Okay, we're gonna get this back in, push that in, and we'll drop this in. Okay, then we're gonna get the screw back on. I don't know why, but I've noticed the SSDs with heat sinks on them tend to have more issues, so I don't know if it's something with the heatsink that's causing the issue or what. Alright, we got another screw here we're gonna have to remove. We're gonna have to use, it's a JS0. Oh, I got someone at the door. Give me a second, I'll be back. Alright, so I don't know why this one uses a JS1 screw, this one has a JS0. Let's go ahead and get that screw out. Okay, this one has this metal thing as well. We're gonna go ahead and slide that out, and interesting. Okay, then this one has this little piece here and it pops out like this. That's not good. It's not even really secured. Okay, so this is the other SSD. Maybe this is the one that's actually getting disconnected, but this is only 256 gigs, so I don't know. Anyways, we'll get this SSD in. Okay, then this one has this metal bracket. Okay, so this one has this metal bracket. I'm gonna undo the screw that's on this metal bracket. I think we might need to use the JS1. Yep, let's switch over to the JS1. I hate when computers do that, where you have to switch back and forth so often, but that's how they decided to do it. Okay, so it has this bracket. You see, it goes like that, and then this screw connects to this one. Tighten that into place, and as you can see, this doesn't really stay too solid. It kind of can wiggle over, so this is kind of a bad design, and that might be why it's disconnecting. So there's not really too much we can do about it because it's held in with this little sliding mechanism, and then the screw just goes in from the other side. So we're gonna have to hold that in place. I'm holding it with my finger here, okay, holding that down. Then we'll slide this back in. Okay, and then lower this down and slide the whole thing in. Okay, so yeah, this mechanism isn't too great for holding the SSD, I feel. Switching back to the JS0, oop, there's a little plastic or nylon gasket or whatever this is made of, I don't know. Okay, so get that in, hold that in place, and tighten this screw down. Alright, and that's holding down this small 256 gig SSD, so hopefully that is holding it in well. Okay, so we already went over the RAM, you got one fan connector here, and then I believe the fan is secured underneath the heatsink. So if you need to take the fans out, you can either take the heat sinks out, or you have to take the entire motherboard out and flip them over. Alright, wireless card is soldered to the motherboard right there, so you can't remove it. You can disconnect the wireless antennas by pulling up from the tail, so you do have to untuck it from these little things. But yeah, headphone jack, 3.5mm jack connects to these 6 pins on the back of the cover. It has a little, let's see if I can show you here. It has this piece here. Okay, I'll set that aside. The LCD connects to the motherboard with this, right? LCD LVDS. It's an interesting connector. I think I've taken one out before, but I'm not going to be doing it in this video because they're not having issues with that here. Okay, you got this little heatsink. I'm not sure what it's for. And then you got another fan connector here. And what else? This appears to be a wireless antenna, Wi-Fi antenna. So you see the wires going along underneath and then going to this. This one's another wireless antenna. Okay, and I think that's just about it. This, what do you call the charge port? Is it its own board? I'm not 100% sure. The charge port might be its own board. Actually, maybe not. It might be part of the motherboard, and then this board is its own board. It has like all this stuff here to hold the connectors into place. But I don't want to mess around with that. This might actually be its own. This might actually be its own board as well. But okay. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this little cable here. Let me zoom in. Okay, and we're gonna flip the latch here and flip the latch here. Okay. Once those latches are flipped up, we should be able to pull this cable out. So we're gonna pull it this way. I know my hand's in the way, but hopefully you can get the idea. This cable's kind of tough to pull out actually. So it might help to kind of pull up in the middle to bow it upwards, and then you can pull that out. Then we can pull that out. And this is the cable here. Focus, there you go, looks like that. And this is the thing. They covered the cable information, but there you can see, I don't know if that's going to be helpful at all. I think the actual model number is covered by this sticker. Let's see, can I peel that off? That might end up damaging this cable more, so I don't want to risk doing that. I don't know what to call this, but KBCB, you can see. And then MB, this side goes to the motherboard, and then this side goes to the keyboard circuit board, I guess. I don't know. Okay, let's try and dust out this as well. Alright, and let's get this back in there. So this piece just reconnects there. Make sure you plug it in all the way tight. Latch this back down. This one, make sure the latch is up. Again, you might have to flex this out a bit or up to get it to go in. Get this guy pulled back into there and make sure it goes in all the way. You can see the white line actually disappears under there. Okay, that's how you know it's in all the way. And then we will flip that latch down. Okay. Alright, so there we go. I think we should be good to go. Let's get the battery back in, and hopefully this computer's issues will all be resolved. Okay. Get that line back up. Get this over here. And we'll drop this back into place. We'll actually get the battery connector lined up and in first, so line that up. Okay, make sure it goes in straight, and then you can kind of, I like to pinch the two pieces like this to get it in, just like that. There we go. Then we'll push the battery into place. Good. Get the speaker in. Make sure it goes on right. Get this side in. Alright, don't forget to reconnect the speaker cable. Let's zoom in here. Okay, so this cable, make sure you're not getting the peeled, the sticky part pushed in. So get that, line it up, and come on, go in. It's not, There we go. So it's all centered, and then just pinch it together just like that. All right, so there we go. Stick that down, and then we just gotta get all the screws for the battery back into place, and we'll power it up, and hopefully everything's good. If you're wondering where the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery is, I don't see one, so I believe it's part of this battery. If you do need BIOS batteries that you're not able to find, I do have I guess an affiliate that is willing to give a 15% discount. I have an affiliate link. Feel free to ask me for that if you need it. But for this specific model, I don't think it has a separate CMOS or BIOS battery. Okay, so we'll get all these screws back in. There we go. Alright, that was using the JS0. We're going to switch now back to the JS1 to get all the screws at the bottom in. And then we have to make sure to tuck this cable back in. If you don't tuck that cable back in, you're going to end up pinching it with the bottom cover and you'll damage it. So make sure that you put that back in right. And also don't forget, we have to also put back the speaker screws. Okay, so we'll get the last screw here. Perfect. Okay, so we have the 2 speaker screws, one down here and the other one right here. So we'll get that in. Perfect. Okay, we're going to switch back to the T5 Torx 5 screwdriver now. Let's go ahead and get these all lined up and pinched back into place. Okay, be careful not to damage this cable because otherwise your speakers won't work. Okay, and just tuck that all in. Alright, now we just got to get the bottom cover piece back on and we're good to go. Oops. Okay, so we'll get this lined up for a thumbnail view a little bit. Okay, and let's get the bottom cover back on. So we're going to put the part where the hinges are first because we did pull that up last. So get that in, line it all up, go down the sides, click it all in. All right, and then we'll get the screws back in and we should be good to go. Let's get all these screws back in. Okay. Almost done. Huh. The screw kept going. All right. In. And the last 4, and then we'll go ahead and power it up, and yeah, everything else should be fine as is because we didn't really change anything on here. But hopefully the SSD issue and the other issue are solved. Okay. And I'm probably gonna have to plug this in before we'll power up, but let's find out. Okay, got the screws back in, flip this over, and let's go ahead and power it up. Oh, I already saw the DELL logo come on the screen. Where'd it go? It just shut off. There we go. Okay, so we should be good to go. That's pretty much it. Let's see if it starts doing the spinning thing. So it should be booting Windows. We'll wait for it. It's taking a while. Let me check some messages real quick. Huh, the screen just went off. It might take a while. Okay, you can see because the BIOS was reset, so time of day is not set. We're gonna have to, you can either set it back up in the BIOS or you can just continue to Windows and then you can have it change the date and time in the bottom corner there. But I think that should be it. It should be booting now. Come on. Usually after that last step, that means the BIOS is done resetting. Yep, there we go. All right, so that's pretty much it. hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help that way, it would be very helpful if you could watch a few of my other videos to tell the YouTube algorithm to share my channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.